Explanation of Article 333 of the Indian Constitution. The Constitution of India is not merely a legal framework for governance but also a charter of inclusivity. It recognizes the diversity of Indian society and provides special mechanisms to ensure that even the smallest and most vulnerable communities have a voice in democratic institutions. One such provision is Article 333, which addresses the representation of the Anglo-Indian community in the legislative assemblies of the states. Text and essence of Article 333. Article 333 states, notwithstanding anything in Article 170, the governor of a state may, if he is of opinion that the Anglo-Indian community needs representation in the legislative assembly of the state and is not adequately represented therein, nominate one member of that community to the assembly. This provision empowered governors to nominate one Anglo-Indian member to the legislative assembly of a state if, in their opinion, the community lacked adequate representation. Historical background. The Anglo-Indian community, a small group of mixed Indian and European descent, had a significant presence during colonial times, particularly in education, railways, and defense services. After independence, concerns were raised about whether such a numerically small group could secure representation in elected legislatures. The Constituent Assembly, under the leadership of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and others, decided to provide nominated representation both in Parliament, Article 331, and in state assemblies, Article 333. This was seen as a safeguard against political invisibility of the Anglo-Indian community. Key features of Article 333. 1. Nomination by governor. Unlike elected representatives, the Anglo-Indian member was nominated by the governor of the state. The nomination was discretionary and not automatic. It depended on the governor's assessment of the adequacy of representation. 2. Limitation to one member. Only one Anglo-Indian member could be nominated to a state assembly, unlike the Lok Sabha where up to 2 members could be nominated, Article 331. 3. Parity with elected members. The nominated Anglo-Indian member enjoyed the same rights, privileges, and duties as elected members, including participation in debates, voting, and legislative activities. 4. Balance with Article 170. Article 170 fixes the composition of state assemblies based on population and direct elections. Article 333 served as an exception, ensuring Anglo-Indian representation even if the community could not win seats through elections. Purpose and significance. 1. Political safeguard for a minority. It prevented the exclusion of Anglo-Indians from state-level politics due to their small population. 2. Recognition of contribution. It acknowledged the important role Anglo-Indians played in education, defense, and public services during India's transition to independence. 3. Symbol of inclusivity. By giving even the smallest communities a voice, Article 333 demonstrated the Constitution's commitment to protecting minority interests within a democratic framework. Abolition of the provision. Over time, as the Anglo-Indian population dwindled and became more assimilated into mainstream society, the necessity of special representation was questioned. After extensive debates, the 104th Constitutional Amendment Act, 2019, effective from 25 January 2020, abolished Article 333's provision for nominating Anglo-Indian members to state legislative assemblies, along with the similar provision for the Lok Sabha, Article 331. Thus, after 2020, governors no longer have the power to nominate Anglo-Indians to state assemblies. Conclusion. Article 333 of the Indian Constitution was a reflection of India's commitment to inclusive democracy, where even small communities like the Anglo-Indians were given a voice in state legislatures. It ensured that their concerns were not overlooked in a system dominated by larger social groups. Although the provision has now been abolished through the 104th Amendment, its historical significance cannot be understated. For over 70 years, Article 333 served as a constitutional safeguard for the Anglo-Indian community and embodied the spirit of pluralism, minority protection, and social justice that lies at the heart of the Indian Constitution. The Constitution of India. Part 16. Special provisions relating to certain classes. Article 333. Representation of the Anglo-Indian community in the legislative assemblies of the states. Notwithstanding anything in Article 170, the governor of a state may, if he is of opinion that the Anglo-Indian community needs representation in the legislative assembly of the state and is not adequately represented therein, nominate one member of that community to the assembly.